So many of you know that, I'll see who's there. Many of you know, you can see like on these videos and you see pictures of the life that we've created here in Costa Rica. What I teach and what clients hire me for is to create a life of effortless affluence. I teach clients how to consciously design their reality, like everything. So what I'm about is living a life of joy in this moment. And so that's where I'm at now. But my deepest secret and what really precipitated this whole journey is the story of emotional abuse. I didn't have children until much later. I was so scared that I would screw my kids up. And I grew up in a family where there was that pattern of emotional abuse. And I didn't want to pass that on to my kids. And so like any overachiever, perfectionist, I remember being in graduate school, and when I finally decided to have a child, I said, okay, I'm gonna do this right. I read all the books. I must have read at least 50 books on parenting. I'm gonna get this right. And so things went well, but then as you have one child and you have a second child, and what I noticed is that I would be in these situations as a mom with these little kids, and I would feel rage. And I would feel so much anger when I wasn't in control. And I would lash out at my children, and they were really young at the time. And then afterwards, I would feel so much shame. How can an intelligent, well-educated, so-called conscious person speak this way to these little children that I love? And I didn't want to talk about it because I was also afraid that someone would come and take my kids away. They knew what a horrible mother I was. And so this was going behind the scenes. It didn't happen all the time, but I would lose my temper, and sometimes I spanked my children, and it wasn't. I don't believe that was right. And so it was that cycle of anger, and then lashing out, and then feeling that shame, just feeling that cycle of shame, that there's just something wrong with me. And it was actually that emotion is what motivated my academic research when I looked at generational trauma, because I was seeking out a way to heal. I wanted to break this chain in my family that was passed down from from parents to child, and again and again and again, that there had to be a way. And so intellectually, that's what, I didn't know at the time, but that's what motivated my doctoral research. And during the process of writing my dissertation, I had a writer's block. So it was the combination of depression, and it opened me up to energy healing. I wasn't open at the time. I came from a very conservative Mormon background and thought, oh, this is pagan, this is not according to what is prescribed as in the gospel. And yet there was academic research, there were double-blind studies that people would use these tools, and they'd have victims of sexual trauma, genocidal countries, and they would heal. They would, if on a scale of 1 to 10, they felt, they remembered what happened, and it was a 10. After a series of sessions in an emotional freedom technique, or what is also called tapping now, it would be a 1 or a 0. And so it was this emotional angst and this very unhealthy pattern, and shame is what drove me to ask, there has got to be a solution. There has got to be a solution. And so that's how I was led to energy work. And as I studied different modalities, Carolyn Cooper's Simply Healed method, emotional freedom technique, and Louise Hay, who writes about affirmations and your body doesn't lie. And the more I studied and developed my own method, because I saw that people would go and get assistance, and maybe some of you have ever had that experience where you go to an acupuncture or you go to a Reiki healer or you get some work done and you feel a shift. You feel better, but your life does not change. Your life does not change. And I saw so many energy healers, people in the spiritual world that are still struggling financially. And so as I saw what those gaps were in looking in my own life, I reverse engineered. Like, how did I go from this cycle of emotional abuse to releasing that, to releasing I had 20 years of addiction with food and exercise and just not having peace in my body. And that released. I am partners with my body. I have grace in my health, and I'm in love with my body. It's amazing. And I have peace around eating. And that wasn't so for 20 years. Despite hospitalizations, therapy, books, like all of that, it never shifted. And so the modality that I downloaded is called the affluence method. It was previously the A-Life method, because I teach how to go from where you are now to living a life of effortless affluence, where you're following your highest excitement, where you experience freedom in your life. And I can't really see, I'm using this sort of a different platform today, in Mevo. But I just felt inspired. I just had a few minutes because I am very excited. I'm leading the Affluence Method retreat. It's a certification retreat. And so it's a good, often coaches and healers who want another toolkit, how to, when clients get on the phone with you, to assist them in permanently releasing blocks, shifting their mindset and limiting beliefs, and teaching them how to get the results that they want in their life, teaching them how to connect to intuition. And so much of it is, through the work that I do, is just behind the scenes. It's working with your energy, shifting your subconscious programming. And this was not my first, I talk about my biggest why. The certification retreat, this is the third time I'm teaching it. It wasn't the first thing that I wanted to do, but clients kept on asking me. They kept on asking me, and as my group program, A-Life Academy, as it grew, there was also a need for other coaches to assist our clients in our community. And so it just kind of grew organically. And what I noticed is that even as clients that will work with me privately, and so they're getting assistance and facilitation working with a mentor, I saw even greater results and shifts in their life when they were empowered and when they had also the tools so they can work on themselves on a daily basis. One of the things that I know is that just talking to a lot of people, like, the results you get in your life are when you are energetically aligned with your dream, whatever that is, with the relationship you want, desire, with where you want to live, whatever it is, when you're aligned with it energetically, it happens. You're invoking the law of integrity. And so what I downloaded, it was my major epiphany, when I was way back in graduate school, and as I started to learn these tools, is that just make sure you're aligned energetically. And so what I teach is how to find out if you are, how to get to the root of the blocks. I'm very gifted in diagnosing and getting to the root. What is that block so you permanently let it go? And then it's so much more. It's how to shift your conscious thought patterns and how you behave, how you're being, so that you experience the freedom now, the life that you want. So all of this that I'm teaching in this affluence method certification retreat, it's in May, and it's May 10th through the 13th. And normally we do not open this up to the public. It's something that it's another opportunity for my clients who want to go deeper. But I felt inspired to share with you because you're part of my community. Your friends here on Facebook, or your family, and it's selfish for me to be living this life here in Costa Rica, where I've enrolled my husband we've left the matrix. We have left the matrix. And we are awake. We are awake in the dream, and we consciously create our reality. And it is selfish for me to have these gifts and these tools and not to share it with you. So it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone, and because this is a retreat, I'm very selective about who we will invite, because we're going to. It's a deep dive. So PM me if it's something that you're interested in. We deep dive 3.5 days, and you receive the entire toolkit on how to release blocks and shift limiting beliefs, how to clear generational trauma, how across other dimensions, parallel realities, like really how to permanently let go of whatever is stopping you, and how to find where that is, how to connect to your higher self and really trust your intuition, how to get more clarity. And so it's a very powerful tool, and many of my clients go on afterwards and they've built coaching practices, they've expanded their coaching or healing practices. It's something also for some of you that maybe you're living here in Costa Rica or you're wanting to know how. It's so powerful to be able to work with clients all over the world and be location independent. That is freedom. That is freedom. Many of you don't know this, but when I first built my company, the first thing that came out of I remember filling my first program, the first thing that came out of my mouth was, I could live anywhere. I can live in Costa Rica. Never been here. I don't know why it came out of my mouth, but it was the first thing that came out, and then a couple years later we were here. So if it's something that you're interested in, we've called it the A-Life Method Retreat, but I've been guided that it's really teaching you how to create affluence. So it's the Affluence Method Certification Retreat. And then you'll be certified. You'll be certified as one of my affluence coaches, and you can teach how to create effortless affluence. So there's just a few spots available. So PM me if you're interested, and I hope that, and if you, I can't, for some reason the way this is, I can't see the questions, if you have any questions for me. So feel free to put them down or just send me a private message. I'd love to hear from you. I wanted to go back to, as I started this share, about my deepest secret and my biggest why. The truth is that I felt for many years so screwed up, and you know, I eventually sobered up and I went back to school, but I still felt like I was white-knuckling success, you know, just through self-will, because I'm a perfectionist, get straight A's, And it was exhausting. And so my biggest why is that it's living a life of freedom and teaching others, teaching you how to do the same. It doesn't have to be so hard. It doesn't have to be so hard. Affluence is a choice. And the more that we create, the more that we live on purpose, not just sharing your gifts, but in every aspect of your life, you will experience more affluence. And so I believe that the more of us who connect to this internal freedom, that we have the ability to shift the planet. So some of you have other ways that you want to affect change, whether it's working for nonprofits, working in politics, marching, watching the news. There's many ways that you might feel inspired to effect change. And for me, my work is to assist you, those of you that are ready, to get to that place of internal freedom, to get to that place where you are experiencing a life of effortless affluence. I believe it's our responsibility. And that especially for those of you that are parents, because I am so grateful for my children, and they activated me, because I don't know that it wouldn't have been as necessary for me to go on this path, because I was looking for a solution. And what I hope that you glean from this is that if I could have released all of these blocks and live with grace and so much more internal freedom and peace in my life, and confidence and joy and all of those high vibrational feelings going from the place where I came from, that I'm pretty sure you probably weren't as screwed up. But maybe that's also just ego saying that, so forgive me for that. I just hope that as you hear my story, is that you just think about what is that block that you have in your life. What's that thing where you keep getting in your own way? What would it be like if you just eliminated it? What would it be like if you just let it go? And isn't it worth it to access the tools so that you can live the life that you really want? So sending you all so much love, and if you listened to the very end, thank you, and I'll talk to you soon.